Welcome everybody! Here in Milan, we are ready to launch the Kickstarter campaign for KIEV 41, and I wanted to share with you the basic concept about the game engine of this fantastic game. If you are already an owner of the other two games of the Barbarossa Trilogy, so Moscow 41 and Leningrad 41, you will find that KIEV 41 uses the same game engine, and this will make things very easy for you. If you are not confident, this is probably the best way to get into the system, because we have some interesting situation, and it is probably the most difficult game of the series to play, not because of the rules, because as I said before, it uses the same rules as its predecessors, but essentially because the Germans in real life in July 41 faced in south of the Pripyat Marsh the strongest Soviet formations, and they had very difficult time with dealing with them, and had in the end to call and wait for Guderian to get the things finished around Kiev before advancing on the other bank of the Dnieper and toward Rostov and the Caucasus. So let's have a look at the available move during an impulse. Now we are talking about, we are showing an example of the first German impulse of the game, but this is just an example, so can be adapted to whatever you have in mind. So what the Germans can do? The Germans can make an impulse chosen between A pass, B, a strategic impulse, C, a tactical impulse. Okay, let's start talking of the pass, which is the easiest one. To make a pass, what can I do during a pass? I can move one of my unit, even an headquarter, even a Luftwaffe headquarter. But what I can't do is I can't engage enemy unit, I can't activate an headquarter, thus I can't send aircraft in, I cannot provoke a new battle, nor I can resolve an already existing battle. So, oh yes, but I can disengage. So let's put, this cannot be the case, but this was the situation, just to give you an idea. This is the most difficult situation for a pass. I can disengage this unit into an adjacent area, and then I can also continue moving it until I have enough movement point. Talking of movement point, in this game there are only two kinds of units, slow and fast. You can see them here. Light background units, so for example this one is a slow unit with 3 movement points, 3 movement point, 3 movement point, 3, 3, 3. This one, which is the headquarter of the 11th Army, is a fast block. This one has 5 movement points. So back to our example of disengaging during a pass. Entering a green area costs 1, but disengaging costs +2. So what this unit could do is 1 to disengage, 1 to enter the green, plus 1 more to enter this green area. That's the maximum. But usually I do not use a pass to disengage. Usually I use a pass to move a unit up to its maximum movement allowance, so 3 and 5 for slow and fast blocks, and that's it. Again, you can't activate headquarter, you can't engage, you can't resolve existing battles, you can't fire with the artillery, you can't send your aircraft in to support an existing combat. That's it. A pass is a passive move, in other words. Let's have a look at the second option, which is the strategic impulse. Well, a player, in this case the German player, can play a strategic impulse only if it has the strategic disc at the beginning of the impulse. And to play a strategic impulse, the disc must be spent. That means put on the map, and then after the end of the strategic impulse, the disc is given to the other player. In this case, you can see it will be rotated from the Rundstedt side to the Tymoshenko side. So, the next impulse the Germans will move, they will not be able to play a strategic impulse unless the Soviets have played back the disc by playing a strategic impulse themselves. That said, what can I do during a strategic impulse? I can move a number of units up to my logistics value. What is the logistics value? The logistics value, as you can see from the table, is given by the leader's strength. In this case, it is 4 for the number of stars of the supreme leader, plus the number of not exhausted and deployed headquarters. I have several. I have Guderian. In this case, I have Kleist and the 6th Army here. I have the 3rd Romanian Army, the 11th German Army. I have the Luftwaffe, and I have the Romanian 4th Army. So, I have, if I'm correct, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 headquarters deployed on the field, because in this case the 17th Army, which is not deployed on the field, does not count for the logistics value. So it is 7 plus the number of stars of my supreme leaders, 11, plus the number of victory area I control, 1, which is Tarnopol. Let's have a look. The one with the flag and the star. So, and plus 1 for each 10 eliminated blocks, but this is not the case because the game has just started. So, the total number is plus, 4, the number of stars of the supreme leaders, of the supreme leader. 7, the number of deployed, not exhausted headquarter. 1, the number of controlled victory areas, which is 12. So the magic number in this case is 12. So by playing the strategic disc, what I can do? I may move a number of blocks. I can activate a number of blocks for even engaging the enemy up to my logistics value calculated before. So I can move this unit because it is 1 unit, another unit, another unit, another unit. I can also move this unit here, this unit here. Then I can ask this unit, instead of moving, to activate in place and build a defensive line by reducing its strength by 1. So just to remember how many units I'm going to move, I have moved. In this case, I have used to build a defensive line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's it. I can't move more than 12. What else I can do during a strategic action? I can resolve all the existing battles. I can resolve even, of course, the new battles. So in this case, I have provoked 1, 2, 3, and 4 new battles, so I can resolve them all. A couple of more things. What else I can do during this move? So let's make an example, just to make things more clear. Let's resolve this battle. Okay? So, showdown, we both reveal the units. Remember that the enemy units must be read face to face. So I have, in this case, 4 white dots, 4 white dots, 4 red dots, 4 red dots, and I have 1 black remnant dot and another 1 black remnant dot. Remember that those units were deployed like this. So when I put them face down, I'm going to do this. So do not read as they are at strength 3, because they are not. Okay? So, let's have a look at the combat. Who fire first? This is a green area. The combat is simultaneously. I have 2 dice for the Soviets. They hit at 6, because this is a black dot. And as you can see, they have scored a hit. The hit must be applied by the owner of the unit, and the hit, in this case, I would give this to this unit, or to this probably, because I don't want to lose my precious red dots. A thing I have not mentioned, sorry for that, is that the color of the dots, while the number of the dots determine the number of dice you are going to roll, the color of the dots determine the firepower. So black dots and defensive line have single fire. That means that they hit only at 6. Double fire, they hit at 6 and 5. Red, triple fire, they hit at 6, 5 and 4. That said, now it's time to fire back with the Germans. So I have 7 white dots now. And I have 1 hit with the first 4, and then with the other. So after the infantry roll, one of these is eliminated, chosen by the controlling player. In this case, they are absolutely the same. So let's get this out. Let's see the panzers. The panzers, they hit at 4, 5, and 6. Sorry, there is a mistake. So they score a hit. Let's roll for the last ones. They score another hit. So in total, the Germans scored 3 hits. Sorry for the mistake before. The first hit in this case is absorbed by the main city here. This simulates that the defender, as he was defending inside the city, could get something to get repaired behind. So the first hit is absorbed, is taken by the city. The second hit is taken by one of those and the other one to the other. So these 2 hits eliminate the 2 Soviet blocks. And now the Germans control the area. Let's have a look at some other combat here. I want to make this one because in this case, those 2 units have crossed a river. So they will have an issue because their strength during the combat will be reduced to 1. In other words, no matter how many dots they have, they will roll 1 die each. So I'm marking these 2 with those 2 dice, and as both have white dots, they need a 5 or a 6 to hit the enemy. Let's have a look at the enemy. This is, remember that the setup is semi-random, so I cannot know which units I will face. So as said, in this case, I have found a very strong Soviet formation, the second mechanized corps. Let's have a look at the fighting. The Soviets roll first. They have 3 white dots. They roll 3 dice, and of course, they have to roll first. As you can see, I have 1 hit because white dots hit at 5 and 6. So the strongest attacking unit must be reduced. The strongest is the number of dots. So it is the German 11 Corps because it has 4 to be reduced. I cannot make a choice in this case. So now they have the same strength, both at 3. So in that case, I could choose which one to reduce. Let's go on. They both are marked with a blue river crossing cube. That means that they both will roll 1 die. I can roll them together because the dots have the same color, which is white, and I have a hit. The bad news is that the Soviets are defending into a yellow area. So the first hit is, let's say, absorbed by the terrain. So nothing happens to the Soviets, which remain in control of the area. Now I can remove the blue river crossing cubes, and to mark this, the Soviet block will be put face up, and I'm not allowed to watch at it anymore, so I need to remember it, while my units remain face up to signify that the area owner in this moment is still the Soviet. Let's have a look at this other combat. In this case as well, we have a river crossing situation. So the Soviets roll first because they are defending. 3 dice at 6 because the unit has 3 black dots, no hit this time. What about the Axis? The Axis roll 1 die for the Germans' red dotted units, 1 die because it is a river crossing, nothing, and 1 die, 5 and 6, for the Romanian unit. Nothing happens, so at least we have engaged the enemy. So this unit is... Let's have a look at this other situation. As you can imagine, I don't have planned those attacks very well, so these are just for examples. Don't get discouraged by my poor results. The reality will be usually very different. Even in this case, I have 3 river crossing units and as a defending Soviet infantry, which does nothing because it has black dots. Let's have a look at the Germans. We have the Luftwaffe attacking across the river. Nothing. We have then the Romanians attacking across the river. Nothing. And then we have the last German unit attacking across the river, which is a red unit, a red dotted unit. Nothing. So the combat is over. I remove the river crossing cubes. The original owner of the area is put face up, is concealed, and the units which have attacked, so they are not controlling the area, are put face up. As soon as I have finished all my combats, my impulse is finished, and the strategic disc goes to the other player. Now, let me report everything back, because I have started this session talking of how to play. So I have showed you a pass, which is surely not the most common move the Germans are going to make at the beginning of the game. I have showed you a strategic action. I have not mentioned that I could have even called for reinforcements during a strategic using the disc, but this is something is not very useful for the Germans at the moment. So I want now to have a look at the most common action the Germans will take at the beginning of the game. Again, this is an example, so it is not the best move. It is just an example of a tactical impulse. Well, if playing a tactical impulse, I can first of all perform an headquarter activation. That means that I can activate any number of my headquarters. Now I will not go on the other side, on the northern side of the area, of the map, but I want to remain in this area. Sorry, I have eliminated 2 Soviet units, because I have more commanders, more headquarters. So let's have a look at the move. First of all, I need to activate my headquarters. So, for example, and to play tactical impulse, the first headquarters I activate must be a ground headquarters. So I cannot activate the Luftwaffe first. The first one will be the 11th Army, which makes 2 crossing the river, and then 2 not because of crossing the river, but crossing the river into a yellow area, which costs 2 movement points. And then the third movement point is spent to enter area 97, and here the commander is activated. Also, I want to activate the Luftwaffe, which is a slow HQ, headquarter, because it has a low background, sorry, a light background color, so it has only 3 movement points, 2 for example, here. And then I also want to activate the Romanian 3rd Army headquarter. No, let's make a bit different this time. Yes, let's activate the 3rd Romanian Army headquarter. And this guy is going to make 1, 2, and 3 to activate here. So I have activated 3 headquarters. What can I do now? I can move combat units, or I can use combat units to build a defensive line if they are in the command range of the proper headquarters. Let's mark those ones which are not in range of a proper headquarters, so we understand this concept. Starting from the north, as we can see, I have activated the 3rd Romanian Army here, which is the brown headquarter. This headquarter has a command range of 3 because it has 3 stars now, so it can command any unit in the in the area where it has been activated. So this unit, let's mark this unit is activated, so this unit can do things, and also it can command any white units in the command range of 3. And as you can see here, there is a white unit, so this unit is activated as well. Also, it can activate the German white unit because it is in a range of 2. And of course, he can activate the units belonging directly to him inside the command range. So these 2 Romanian units, the Armored Cavalry and the 4th Romanian Corps, are in range of the activated commander, and those can be activated. The issue now, let's check the mountain units. Let's check it carefully, because it seems that it is out of range. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. But what about 1, 2, 3? So even the mountain core is activated, can be commanded. Let's have a look at the other units. The Luftwaffe headquarters is not able to activate any ground units, but it can send air units to support the battle. Which one? Anyone in the command range, which is 4 stars. So we will see later which ones. But I have those planes I can send. Also, I have some activated, as said, headquarters, the 3rd Romanian Army headquarters and the 11th German Army headquarters, so they can also provide artillery fire into any adjacent battles. But let's go back to see which units can be commanded. For the same rule, the German 11th Army automatically activates each and every unit in the area where it has been activated. So all these 3 units are activated. Doesn't matter the color, in other words. Sorry, butterfingers. Let's have a look at the others. Those 2 German units are blue and they are inside the command range of the German 11th Army, which is 4, so they both are activated. Let's have a look at the others at the southernmost edge of the map. So this light blue unit is activated. What about the others? Well, this unit is a commander, cannot be activated. Why? Because it has the only way to activate another commander is to move and activate another commander into that area. For example, I could have ask the 11th Army to move and activate into this area, Foxani. So this commander could have been moved, but that's not the case. So to mark that this is a unit I cannot move, let's put it down. The same thing happened to these other units. Why? Because this is a pink unit, and the pink Romanian commander, which is the 4th Army, has not been activated. So this unit cannot be moved, commanded. Anyway, so let's have a look at what I can do with my units. I'm making just examples, so don't take it literally. With this unit on the flank, I want to build a defensive line. So I reduce it and I deploy a black defensive line. With these 3 units, I want to engage the enemy here. Oops. As it is a green area, I can even add a 4th unit. For example, the German unit here, 1 and 1, 2. Keep in mind that all these units are making a river crossing, so they will be reduced to minimum strength. So I'm just trying to put the whole will be reduced to minimum strength. Also, as those 2 commanders, those headquarters are adjacent, I want to add their artillery fire to this battle. Let's have a look at the other thing in the north. I want to attack this area with this unit, all of this. Oh, sorry, let's make a different. This unit, instead of move, will be reduced to build a defensive line. Then I will send this unit in. I'm not counting movement point because I'm almost adjacent and I'm entering a green area. By the way, it is 1 and 1, 2. Keep in mind that even in this case, all my 4 units are performing a river crossing. So I have to mark them with a blue cube. What else? I could move this unit here, and I could move this unit here just to cover my leader. What about the planes? Planes can be committed to any battle inside the air range of the headquarters, which is 4 in this case because it has 4 stars. So the combat range is 4 stars. It can send up to 4 planes, and I'm not restricted to send them to the same battle. So I can send, for example, 2 here and 2 on the other one, or 3 and 1, whatever. I mean, it doesn't matter. But as here I'm already committing 2 artillery fire, probably I need all those planes to the other battle. Okay, so let's have a look how to resolve these battles. First of all, we make showdown of all the units, and in this case, remember that the Germans and the Romanians are river crossing. First of all, what happens? The defender will fire anti-air. Anti-air because in this case there are air units in the X. The bad news is that the Soviets have limited anti-air, so they are going to roll a die for each block, and the defensive fire is given by the color of the dots, so they have only single fire, they hit only at 6. That means that anti-air is gone. What about the air support? The air support in this case is terrific. Each plane is going to roll 4 dice hitting at 5 and 6. So basically I'm going to roll 16 dice, but in this case, I'm committing all of my Luftwaffe to a single spot, so the effect is devastating. But after, the Luftwaffe headquarter will be reduced to 3, so we'll be able to commit only 3 planes, and each plane will be able only to roll 3 dice. Then after, it will be reduced to 2, so it can be able to commit only 2 planes into a range of 2 areas, and each plane can roll only 2 dice. And then after, one reduced at the art level, the game is over. The Luftwaffe is definitively spent. Remember that the same month usually can be 3, 4, 5, or even 10 impulses long. So this is not exactly the best move. This is just an example. As you can see, committing a lot of units to a single spot gives you the 100% certainty that you will be successful, but in the long term, this will pay dividends against you. So let's roll for the Luftwaffe. Luftwaffe, first 4, I have already 1 hit. Then Luftwaffe again, I have other 2 hits, so totally it is 3. I have Luftwaffe again, so I have 6 hits. Oh, I'm overperforming. Okay, 8 hits. Let's have a look at the terrain. The terrain in this case is a green area, so the defender has not any kind of defensive bonus. So 8 hits are immediately absorbed by the defensive unit, by the unit of the defender, which can get only 3 hits, so this unit is eliminated. I take my planes off the table, so now the Germans and the Romanians are the controller of area 46. Let's go on with the other fighting. In this other fighting, as you can see, we have no planes, of course, but we have 2 artillery. So let's make showdown and let's roll for artillery fire. Okay, all these 4 units have crossed the river. So, artillery fire, I have 4 dice for the 11th army, 4 stars, and 3 dice for the 3rd army. They both hit at 5 and 6 because they have white stars. So, let's roll for the Romanians first. Oh, those Romanians are nasty. 3 hits. Demolishing the enemy cavalry. So, as you can see, this area is a green area. There is not any kind of defensive bonus, nor because of the terrain, nor because of any major city. So, the 3 hits directly goes onto the unit which is eliminated. I don't need to roll for the other artillery. By the way, remember that once you have committed your artillery fire or your air support, you cannot change them. It's part of the game. It's another benefit of the fog of war. You really don't know what you are attacking. I can remove the blue crossing cube and that's it. So now the Germans and the Romanians do control area number 105. Let's finally have a look at the end of this. Each and every activated headquarter is reduced and put and concealed. In this case, from 4 to 3, the same for the 11th army, and the 3rd Romanian army from 3 to 2. Then I re-put all the other units in the same positions, and my impulse is finished. Now it is the Soviet impulse. So I hope I have given you a good idea. But let's say that now I want, as I own the initiative disc at the beginning of the game, I want to play the so-called Bessarabian nightmare strategy. So I say, hey, wait, I have played a tactical impulse. Well, now I want to play a second consecutive impulse by spending the disc. That means that after the disc will go to the Soviets. So I have to keep this thing well in mind. I have to calculate my logistics value, which I know is 12 at this moment, and then I can move up to 12 fast units to do whatever I want. Let's make an example. Let's mark in this area which are the fast units. The Romanian Cavalry Corps, the German 11th Army headquarter, and that's it. So I only have 2. By the way, let's try to make as an example. I will ask the Romanian tank to move 5 movement points to make this move. 2, because I cannot engage during the exploitation move, but I can make 2. So I'm going to mark this X cost 2. 3, this X cost another movement point. 4 and 5, because this X do cost other 2 movement points because of yellow area. What about the 11th Army? Okay, this is not a move you have to make at home. Okay, this is just an example. The 11th Army, as it is a fast unit, can make 1 and 1, 2. In this way, I have encircled those 3 Soviet units, because the Germans do control those 2 64 and 81 areas, because they are the last one which has entered those areas. And at the beginning of the Soviet term, those 3 units will be out of supply. Being out of supply means that they cannot be activated, nor be moved, and if at the end of the turn they will be still out of supply, they will be reduced by 1 step. And this way, at the end, when reduced to the minimum and then eliminated, instead of going into the Soviet reinforcements pool to be rebuilt, to be redrawn, this is an example of the Soviet reinforcement pool, to get redrawn later, they will not allow to add to the Soviet reinforcement pool, so they will not be able to be redrawn or come back into the game. So, in other words, they surrender. Each 10 surrendered Soviet units give 1 additional victory point to the Germans, and this is something which is very interesting to evaluate in the long term, especially for 2 reasons. First, let's take the assumption that the Germans has captured 30 Soviet blocks. This means that the Germans will have 3 extra logistics points each turn on, but also that the Soviet reinforcement pool will be short of 30 units, and this is another thing which will pay dividends in the long term. So I hope I have not bothered you too much with this video. I hope that you have learned basic things. Remember that all these things are reported in the player IED we have deployed, for example for Moscow, and that the system uses the same game engine of the other 2 games of the series, so Moscow and Leningrad. By the way, I have prepared this player ID for KIEV 41, and I hope we can have it into the game as well. So enjoy the game, keep on learning, playing and surfing history. Ciao.
Play solitaire or with your friends.